Good morning, everyone. Sunday, July 2nd. In the last few days, we've been talking about goal setting and awareness and a combination of things. Those are the kind of the highlights. That's what I remember the last couple of days of what we talked about. And, I was thinking about a goal setting technique that I learned. And it's actually quite simple. And I think the visualization, the technique, or the visual that goes with it really helped me. And so I was guided to share it. And it's like, I'm talking like simple. So basically you can do this now or do it after, right? But if you have paper handy, you put an X kind of where you are, right? And put here, because that's where you are right now. And then above the page, like, so kind of the top right-hand corner of the page, put like another X and put your desire. And there's a gap between where you are and where you want to be. And so yesterday we were talking about having this awareness piece of where we are is so important. And there was the two questions that were asked. Excuse me, am I willing? And then, and am I able? And that might be in reverse order. Am I able? And then ask, am I willing? And the willing piece is just, are you willing to do, whatever is necessary for you to go from this point to this point? And often there's a bit of trepidation before saying yes, because we don't know. Like, we don't know what's going to be required of us. If we're going to say yes, that's the next level. That's that next level of desire. And in order for us to see what's the steps that would be required to go from, like, I'll say point A to point B, is faith in the universal laws will be required, and an openness to see what's stopping you from going to where you are to where you want to be. Because the truth is, the desire is there in your heart. That's there due to your connection to divine source energy. So once it's a desire connected to divine source energy, by law, it says the ways and means for that to unfold may happen. And in order for that to happen, the ways and means, it's like making that commitment, yes, and then every step of the way saying yes, yes, I can do that, yes, I can do that, yes, I can do that. So we don't need the full plan until we've made the commitment to say yes. And I remember sharing with you yesterday that if we don't transform as we take those steps, we don't grow. Some people would say change. If we don't change while we're taking those steps, the outcome will be the same. So our experience will be the same. So maybe not the outcome. I'm being corrected. The outcome or experience? The outcome or experience will be the same because we haven't changed. And so it's accepting that change must occur within ourselves, right? And so that's what I was sharing. There's lots of times I'd set a path, like I'd made a decision, had a goal, and the journey would be the same, right? The obstacles and challenges, I call them my Groundhog Days, would be the same. And I was confused. And so with the aha moment of, oh, that's because the same person, the same Ranchel, is moving forward on that. And so the result will be the same. So then what we really need to do is to sit and ask divine source energy, ask even in reflective questions, work with your coach on what needs to change, right? And each one of you will have a different way to establish the change, right? So then you start moving towards the desired goal, and the opportunities to change will come, basically. And so, just stating this in a different way, if you approach the opportunities and challenges in the same manner that you've approached the opportunities and challenges in the past, the results and experience will be the same. So what you're being asked to do now is to step into a new way of being, a new you. And I remember the first time that I was asked to do this, I really struggled with this because I was really comfortable with the person that I was. Even though there was results that I was experiencing, I was really comfortable with who I was. And so I resisted the change, right? When I asked to be shown what needed to be changed, it became clear, right? It super clear on what parts of my personality and my habits, beliefs that needed to be changed, right? So as we're adapting to our change, adapting to us, this new way, then it's the integrating the new way of being and the new way of doing. And then we become aware of that new way, and then another opportunity and another new way of change will come forward. And so from here to where you want to be, in the explanation of it's kind of like the stair-step approach, but it really feels like a quantum leap, right? Because with each opportunity of personal transformation, of personal growth, we become one step closer to the desire of where we want to be, right? And so the only thing that slows us down is worry, doubt, fear, like old habits or old values or paradigms, right? And so what we can do is look at our past. So this is use our intellect and think about in the past where, like, what stopped us, where in the past what stopped us. And so I know, like, when I look at my past, every time I was to have explosive growth in my life, in my business, there was always, and I'm saying like every single time, there's either been a huge like blowout or blow up with someone that I love that would, for the longest time, I'd say knock me on my ass. I'll take a sip of my coffee. Hang on for a second. So it would be a huge fight, would knock me on my ass, or someone would get sick, and somebody that I love would be sick. And that's happened like in every time I have a breakthrough. And so when that happens now, right, my dad, having a massive heart attack, there's an opportunity for me to sit and reflect, right, and then show up differently than I did or would have last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right? And it can be things like a pet getting sick. It could be things like a washer, dryer, like breaking down, so then there's a greater investment of money. It could be anything for anybody, but those are I'm just sharing what I've seen. And it distracts us, right, from it can be a distraction from what we're meant to transform. But if we know that, right? So I know that if I've made a decision to be something, to do something different, that something will be created, manifested in my life that looks like a really big thing. And it's there for me to contemplate, ponder, be in awareness of. I wouldn't say necessarily analyze, because that would just be my brain analyzing, but looking at it from a universal law perspective. What is the experience I'm having? What could the experience have? And what is the message there for me? And then I ask divine to help me figure that out. I don't figure that out. I don't intellectually figure that out. And then I ask, so what's the next step? Like, what's the process of change? Where am I supposed to transform? Right? What am I meant to, who am I meant to be differently? And what am I meant to do differently? And then, kind of like follow the yellow brick road. That's what I always say. I'll follow the yellow brick road. It's where do I need to go? Right. And so when you can identify your stopping points, right? Then when that occurs, you can take a deep breath and go, oh, this is normally when I stop. This is when I get distracted. This is when I quit. And you can make a new decision to not stop, to not quit, to not let it be a distraction. And you may not know what that next step is. And if you ask the question, right? What's next? What do I do? Show me the way. There's lots of different ways you can ask it your way, right? If we ask things like, why is this happening to me? Then we are wearing our victim cloak, our martyr cloak, role cloak. And then you will also receive the answer to that, right? But if we don't ask the why question, and we even make the statement of everything happens, for me, nothing happens to me. What is this? What opportunity do I have before me, right? When I was driving to the hospital with Dad on Monday, can't believe it's a week tomorrow, right? On Monday, it was very clear that for me to enjoy. So it was, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my life, right? I love coaching. I love this. I love everything that's most everything that's unfolding in my life. And it was just this reminder that decisions and choices I have all along the way, that I'm not stuck. I think that was the biggest thing. There's a few areas in my life that I'm feeling kind of like lethargic, not even stuck, right? But lethargic. And it was like, that's a decision. That's a decision to stay in the energy of lethargy, right? And it was just this beautiful gift in a very short period of time. I was like, I'm very clear of what my next step is in order for me to create the life that I desire. And part of that even is clarity, right? I've had different areas of my life that I'm clear on what I desire, but not a really big picture. And so I was guided in that moment as I was driving, is that it was a very clear voice. I need clarity in all areas of my life. I need to make a decision, because I guess this is why I'm sharing the story. Like, why am I sharing this story? Because we often want clarity first to make a decision, and that's backwards. We believe that clarity comes first and then a decision. And over again, what I'm witnessing is a decision is made and then the clarity comes. And the decision can be made and the clarity can be, as you're going down the path, the clarity can be, oh, I need to make a different decision. So not even that a wrong decision was made, but it unfolds very quickly that a different decision needs to be made, right? And if you're following human design, you can make your decisions with your strategy and authority. And that will feel, I'll use the word better in terms of discernment, right? And so you can make the decision based on that, right? And it really changes the trajectory of the direction that you want to go. And so I was listening to this. So Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend, Behrend. And I was listening to her. So her book is actually on YouTube, someone like an Audible. I really like her. I think this one was written in early 1900s. Yeah, the first one was written in 1930, I think, and then 1950, something like that. Anyhow, that's not super relevant, but I just love I love these older the older material, right? And so this reminder of explaining that everything animate or inanimate is called into existence or outstandingness by a power which itself does not stand out. The power which creates the mental picture, the originating spirit substance of your picture desired, does not stand out. It projects the substance of itself. So let me say that again. Everything animate or inanimate is called into existence by a power which itself does not stand out, right? So the formless substance turns into form. So spiritually speaking, we're talking about divine. The divine doesn't necessarily stand out. From a science perspective, we're talking about quantum physics, right? That the quantum doesn't really stand out, that we don't see that we may understand intellectually that everything is matter, and that matter is made up of energy, which cannot be created nor destroyed, but we don't see the energy, right? But the power that creates the mental picture, our intellect, our conscious mind, right? Also may not stand out, right? Like we're in awareness of the conscious mind, but we don't necessarily go, oh, there's the conscious mind. As we become more aware, you may do that, right? So everything, the power remains invisible to the physical eye. And so it's just the reminder that things which are seen are not made of things which do appear. So faith is, from that perspective, is being in awareness that things are happening and we may not see it. And we are so used to show me the evidence. I'll believe it when I see it. And over and over and over and over again, we're being called, believe it, and then you shall see it, right? And so everything in the whole world had its beginning in mind and comes into existence in exactly the same manner. All our projected thoughts solidified, right? So the iPhone, I was looking at my phone, right, was an idea, was a picture in someone's mind. Your personal advancement and evolution depends upon your right use of the power of visualizing. And so over and over again, we'll like read that. But when we think about where you are and where you want to be, and it's that visualization of that. Now, again, you can visualize specifically if you want to, or you can just be a general, a general visualizer. I'm general. So if I'm thinking about a house, I never thought about like what the color of the walls were. But some people they feel better when they do that. And then you ask, like, what's my next step? And an obstacle or challenge may come to you. You're not doing anything wrong, but it's like the power and presence of God is in that obstacle or challenge. And you are the power and presence of God. And so you can look at that challenge and approach it differently. And even ask yourself, this is how I've approached this in my past, right? Because I think we have that intellect. And am I to approach it this same way? All right. I think that's it for now. I'm just going to check in to make sure okay. Thank you so much, everyone. love you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.